And I could see actually then what everyone else was seeing. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, very good. You know, I have a slideshow set up. I'm wondering if I should turn around my laptop, to try to do that once, I do my little thing. Mm-hmm. What do you think? Maybe
you could try it and see what happens.
I have a big monitor and, maybe we could do that because I was thinking, what you're making today seems to me as sort of a traditional dish. Mm-hmm. And so I thought I would talk about the sort of the updated traditional kitchen, which has been changing. And you'll be doing a more modern take on this traditional dish. So I thought, let's talk a little bit about today's, what's today's traditional kitchen?
There you go. Well, that sounds like a good idea.
So looking forward to this one. And I can't wait to see what you're stuffing it with.
Well, I kind of Lisa likes bread stuffing, so I kind of make a mixture. But let me get started right now. And we'll invite some people in later once we get the show going. So I'm going to, let me move my camera over. All right, so here you can see kind of what I've got. And I have my pork chops right there, and I'm just going to move them off to the side right now. And I'm going to make kind of a traditional bread stuffing, but just with a few other things. So first thing I want to do is let me get that butter out of there. Let me turn my heat on. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to saute up these greens. And this is a super green. So that's going to go in our stuffing. Put a little bit of oil in the pan.
Okay, now refresh us again. What's a super green?
Super green is a blend, and let me grab the package, and I will tell you. And these are organic. There's a good company called Organic Girl. And it is a combination of red and Swiss chard, tatsoi, arugula, and spinach. And they're triple washed, so it's a really nutritious blend, and it's clean.
Okay, so these are these like more healthy? They have more, good stuff in them and nutrients.
Yeah, they have a lot of nutrients in them. Greens are good for you, and most greens are good for you. You want the dark leafy greens. They're really what have the most flavor and the most nutrients for you. Things like iceberg lettuce, it's really a decorative lettuce when you come down to it. It has nothing but water in it, and it's really just not really something you want to eat if you're looking to eat something that's good for you. It's not bad for you. It's just not really good for you.
So dark greens.
Yeah, anything dark leafy and anything colorful as a rule is useful. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cook these down a little bit. Now, sometimes one thing you do have to watch for is when you cook your greens, they'll produce a lot of water, spinach especially. And if you're going to put it in a stuffing, either you have to compensate for the fact that you've got so much water in it, or you have to squeeze it out. Okay, and a lot of times when I pre-cook them, I'll squeeze them out. So this is pretty much just seared. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to put them in a bowl, and I'm going to let them cool a little bit.
Let me just ask you a question that's either silly or not. When you showed us that container for the greens, is that meant to be like a salad type of thing, or
yes.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Yes, they sell. I just saw a new one. Remember, I had gotten what the heck was it? It wasn't mustard greens, some kind of a pepper green or something, and I made well, it's the same company that has that. And I also saw like pea greens this morning, like baby pea pod greens. So they'll taste a little bit like a pea pod. They'll be sweet. So I was going to get those. And you can mix them in salads. You can saute them in dishes. Treat them just like you would spinach. It's a green. And if you put it in a salad, you put it in a salad. I probably wouldn't eat an entire salad of it unless it was like a specialty salad.
Yeah.
But
you see, it's a different thought process to go to the salad section to get these greens. So that's why I ask. I would not think to, go there and do it. So
but wherever they have those prepackaged items, look through them next time, because it's not just spinach and it's not just a mixed salad. So it might be something that you want to use. All right, so let's move on here, and let's get our prep real quick, and then we will get on. I've got a part of an onion here. I don't need a lot, but I'm really making kind of like a traditional bread stuffing at this point to a point. And I'm going to add in a little diced onion and a little bit of red pepper for color.
And look who's coming in. We have Tina coming in.
Yeah. She just joined today. Well, she can't get in.
No, I don't know why. That's good.
Well, let's hold off bringing anybody in until we get further in the show anyway. Okay, so let me crank this back on. I'm going to put this chopped onion in here because that's going in our bread stuffing. All right, and then I have a little red pepper here. I love these little peppers.
Yes, I've been getting them. I haven't seen them before.
These are bell peppers, and they have like the longer ones I usually get. But it's great because if you just need a little pepper, you're not wasting it. And, you know, it's usually enough for what you're making. Unless you're feeding a lot. But with 2 people, you know, it's all you need is one.
That's right.
Especially when one of the people doesn't like peppers. And I put them in anyway.
Who doesn't like peppers? You or Lisa?
Lisa.
Oh, but you're putting them anyway. Okay. Well,
that's all right. I really did her in last night. I made rice and beans. And I'm watching her eat the rice without eating the beans.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, my gosh. Black beans or red beans?
Black beans.
Okay.
I thought she might eat the black beans. So here I'm just getting my stuffing ready, and I'm getting a little saute on them. I'm not going to cook them crazy like they're going to be a whole lot, but I want to get some in there. Okay? So that is it. You could season it now, but, you know, I'm going to season the outside, and I'm going to put a little – I got to grab my cheese. I'm going to shred up some cheese, but I left it in the refrigerator. Okay, so let's turn this off. I'm going to hit it with just a little bit of chicken stock just to help cool down the process. And now I'm going to add in some seasoned bread cubes. And these are pretty much just like you would use for your stuffing. Mm-hmm. You can make them from scratch. But I kind of like the flavor. And again, this is, you know, it's not trying to make it too difficult. I'm trying to keep things as easy as I can. So here we've got this. I'm going to probably need some more liquid, but I just want to mix my spinach or my greens in now. Grab a spoon. Actually, there's a fork.
And they're just the greens are just very lightly sauteed.
Yes, everything is just very lightly sauteed because it's going to cook a little bit. And I want it to have, I don't want it to be mush. I want it to have some integrity. It's not going to superheat inside. It's going to get hot. And, you know, by the time, because pork really doesn't take a whole long time to cook.
And how much stock did you put in?
I put in about a half a cup, and I'm going to put in a little bit more. And I used about maybe a cup of bread. Mm-hmm. And I want it to be about the consistency of a normal stuffing. You know, like if you were going to pop it in the oven and bake it.
Yeah, but I mean, that looks good because it's not like all glommed together. It's right. Everything has its own shape and texture, it looks like.
So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a little bit. I've got some Jarlsberg cheese here.
Oh, cheese.
I was going to put goat cheese in, but I had some Jarlsberg on hand, and Lisa really likes Jarlsberg. Oh, yeah. And I thought it would be a nice complementary flavor. The goat cheese kind of takes on a little bit of flavor of its own. All right, so I'm just going to get this off the frying pan. I'm going to put it in a bowl, and then I'm going to move it off to the side. Just let it set for a few minutes while I prep the pork. Now I'm going to rinse this pan out because we're going to use it. Okay. Very good. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them. All right, so this is a side. I might put a little bit more cheese in because we like cheese in this house.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay, so now we're going to prep the pork up. And these are some really nice center cut pork chops.
Oh, those look big. Yeah. Yes,
they are. You know, if you're going to make it a meal, make it a meal. and actually the fact that they're a little thicker, and I used to do these a variety of ways. And one of the ways I did them was to pound them out and then really stuff them. And then they would take up a whole plate. But I'm not going to do that with these. And I'm going to leave this little fat on it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my knife. I'm going to hold my hand down. And I'm going to try and hit it dead center.
Mm-hmm. Super sharp knife.
Well, yeah, you would think it would be, but it's not particularly. In fact, let me grab another knife that is a little sharper. Bring in the big boy. There we go. That's better. Yeah, this is in need of some sharpening. And again, that's one of the reasons I don't buy real expensive knives. Number one, because my carpal tunnel is so bad. I have to adjust how I hold a knife. So a really good knife, it's like buying really good speakers at this stage of my life. I can't hear really good speakers, so it doesn't matter as much. So I have a knife sharpener, and I buy Dexter knives. Kind of because I like Dexter, too, the show, and I thought it was funny that he named himself after a knife company since he was a serial killer.
Oh, jeez.
So I've kind of split this. And one of the things about using a bigger piece is that it's a little easier to cut. It's not as delicate. And it saves some time. And George wants to know, is the recipe on your website yet? No, George, this one is not, but I do have some other stuffed pork chops on here. And I do apologize for that, but I've been doing so much paid work recently that the ones I do for fun haven't been making it on there quite as fast as I would like. Okay, so see how I'm holding down. I'm very careful, and you might notice I'm arching my fingers up. I'm not gripping them down and holding it, because if I slip with a knife, I could take off the tip. So I'm pushing with the palm of my hand, not real hard, but enough just to hold it in place.
Oh, good tip.
While I run the knife through. Okay. And so here we got two nice sections. Done with that knife. I'll just rinse a little bit. Okay, so now would be the time that, and this is an area that we don't think about, but we're going to open these up real quick before we stuff them, and I'm just going to season them. And I'm using Montreal seasoning, don't gas, because I love it. You could just use sea salt and black pepper, a little garlic in here, but I'm going to do the inside of the meat besides the outside of the meat, because now I'm really going to let these flavors go through.
That's great. I love that seasoning.
Now we're going to take some of this mixture, and we're just going to put it right in there.
Now, do you think you can freeze that stuffing?
You could freeze these.
Or would it get like
you could freeze them just like this. You can make these up, put them in the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And how about the extra stuffing?
The extra stuffing, you could freeze it. It's probably not going to hold up as well as you would have liked.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah. So, you're better off buying an extra pork chop and making it up and freezing it, and then you've got a treat for yourself. Maybe not enough to feed the family, but one of those days you're home alone and you want to give yourself a treat and have a really nice lunch. Take it out ahead of time.
Yeah, or save it for tomorrow night for another nation.
Yeah, it's always good. You can cook them all. Yeah, you could even cook them all and keep it in there. Or maybe you want to send someone off to work with a really neat lunch, and this would definitely do it. So. Okay. All right. So these are done. Now, you can finish these a variety of ways. You can bread them. You could flour them. And you could just roast them like this. Okay. You could season them and put a nice coating of olive oil on and do it just like that. What we're going to do today is I'm going to pan sear them, and I'm going to finish them in the oven. And it's like everything else, we do. I'm going to have these for dinner tonight. So they're going to pan sear, be done, put them in the refrigerator. And then tonight when Lisa comes home, I'm going to give them about 25 minutes or 20 minutes in the 350-degree oven. And I'll take them out of the refrigerator and let them sit for a good half hour before I do that.
Is there a particular temperature you want them to get to?
Internal right now, I'm giving the meat a sear, so I'm not as worried about the inside getting to the temperature. But if you're looking for temps on the inside, you want to get a minimum of 160 degrees, 165 degrees. Anything you take out of the oven, remember, is going to increase about 10 degrees after it's removed. Any meat that you take out of the oven should rest briefly. Like something like this won't need to rest as long, but any kind of a thicker roast needs about 10 minutes, even a little bit longer if possible. Steak, same thing, to let the juices go back to where it belongs. So the meat's, and that's what makes the meat tough. Because if you cut a piece of meat and blood runs all over the plate and you go, ooh, look at all that. Well, that's all the juice coming out of the meat.
Well, do you think it's better to even take it out a little bit before it's maybe fully done?
I like to. And, again, with the state of pork, you can actually eat pork medium rare now. For a long time when we were feeding pork garbage, when we were feeding pigs garbage, it was really not a good idea.
That's right.
But now it's not as bad, and most meats, with the exception of hamburger, are pretty safe to eat. So all I did was I seasoned the outside a little bit, going in a nice hot pan. And I'm going to be gentle with these. I'm going to leave them, and I'm going to let them sear on one side. Just going to try and get a little oil all the way around it. But I'm going to let them sear. It's on a medium-high heat right now, and it's just going to do its thing. I don't mind if it gets a little color on it. In fact, it would be nice if it gets a little color. And then all I'm going to do with them after that is put them onto a baking dish. Well, I'm going to put them in a pan, put them in a refrigerator, and let them chill down. And again, the center won't be that hot, so it's not going to take a crazy long time for them to cool. So they'll cool down pretty rapidly. And then when Lisa comes home, they're going in the oven. And yesterday on the show, I did the basics. I made an Espagnole sauce.
Oh, I love that.
So I made an Espagnole sauce all in 15 minutes. Of course, it had to simmer for about 2 hours afterwards, but the basic sauce was done. Yeah. So I'm going to saute up some mushrooms, add a little red wine to my Espagnole sauce, and that's going to go with these tonight for dinner.
Oh, nice. Now tell me something.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of dishes that I finish in the oven, and I don't know why I do it, but I do it. Why do you finish things in the oven? What's the concept behind it?
The concept behind it is having a little bit more control. You're not going to burn something by doing it on stovetop. Mm-hmm. And the other part of it is, in the restaurant, I would make these up ahead of time, and then I would do just what I'm doing now. I would get color on both sides.
Yeah.
Put them up, chill them, and then when they're ordered, I take one out and we pop it in the oven. Mm-hmm. So it frees you up to do other things.
Okay, so it's kind of like a gentle, all-encompassing, heat.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. No, I know. I finished my salmon and I finished filet mignon.
In fact, I'm only going to give this other side just a brief time in the pan because one side will be pretty and it's kind of searing the meat. And I didn't even dredge it in flour, and most of the time I do hit it with some flour.
You're going to hit it with some flour?
No, I mean when I dredge it in flour before I saute.
Oh yeah, that looks great. That's a beautiful sear on that. That's
okay. Great. And I want you to see. Let me turn the camera. Yeah. Okay. I want you to see the nice interior. See how the stuffing?
I was going to ask you, did you sew it up or something?
Yeah. I'm just going to leave it like this, and there's not enough in it to make it really run. Okay. The cheese is going to bind into it a little bit.
Oh, true.
So I am probably, when I do these in the oven, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to add some water to the bottom of the pan, even a little stock or wine, and then I'm going to cover them. I'm going to tent them. I'm not going to cover them real tight, but I'm going to tent them, and I'm going to let them not steam, but they're going to simmer more in the juice and in the heat rather than let the dry heat really attack them, because the dry heat would kind of dry the meat out, because pork doesn't, except for the ring around the front, which I left on, doesn't have a lot of fat on it.
Yeah.
It's going to need a little help. Okay, so that is the stuffed pork chop, and like I said, I made an Espagnole, and if you want to see how to do that, go to the replay of yesterday's show, and it's on YouTube as well, and watch that. Now let's open up the room and see who wants to come in. And Susan, do you want to show your slide? You want to try that?
I'm going to give this a shot, and this is potentially groundbreaking for Blab. So let's give this a shot and turn this around and see what. Oh, yes. Look at this.
Okay, that works.
Oh, my goodness. How awesome is this? Okay. So we're going to talk about the new traditional kitchen. And, you know, when we think of traditional kitchens, we think of raised panel doors or white or things like that. But now, you know what? Things are changing, and they're changing in such a comfortable way. Here we see a kitchen. It's sort of one end of a kitchen. We see a beautiful rug and a chair, and then shelves, you know, with some useful items on it. And we see the beautiful lighting, stylish lighting, and we also see beams. So today's traditional kitchen is really a mix of, you know, of design elements, and it's like Chef Cooks. It's to how you wish to express yourself. Why isn't this? Oh, I know. I have to go here. Okay. No, why isn't this moving now? Okay, maybe I go this way.
There you go.
Yeah, okay, I go up and down. Here's a shelf. Again, useful items, modern. Yeah, it looks like an otherwise modern kitchen, but, you know, we have some black elements, which gets us, you know, add some drama, add some style, things like that. Here's a wider shot, and see we have some, you know, antique vintage items, copper, you know, a lot of these earthy elements and these beautiful old prints. Here we have a mid-century style cart. You know, you can use a cart for so many purposes, and this was kind of low. I've actually considered a tall bar type of cart in my kitchen, something I can roll around into other rooms. This is a little tough to see what you're looking at, but it's the side of an island in, you know, some kind of reclaimed, you know, beautiful, beautiful wood with a stainless countertop. Here's another shot of, you know, kind of modern design, but with a very earthy, you know, antique textured wood. And also the modern kitchen today, it might have lighter woods, but it has, you know, seeing the grain of the wood is very popular as well, because that adds warmth. It adds so much warmth. And here we have simplicity in the white dishes and the stainless. We really only have 3 separate design elements here. The rich wood and, you know, other useful items. And here, you know, good furniture, good chairs for even in your breakfast area. Get good furniture. It so elevates the entire feeling of the kitchen. And here, this looks otherwise modern, but again, it's earthy. You have the marble, a full backsplash with no clutter for the marble and wood, but then you have the glossy gray island. So it is a warmth. This picture I show quite a bit, which I'm crazy about because it's modern, yet it's, you know, you can put antique, you know, utensils on it and the texture of towels, things like that. And this is also a kind of a combination of modern and, you know, tradition, the traditional wood panels. It's a refreshed traditional look. And that's really what's happening. It's this earthy look. It's this, you know, appreciation for wood and having the wood finish and the grain, you know, add the warmth, but add some style too. You know, you know, the table, of course, the copper, it adds that warm element. It's modern, yet it's warm. I'll tell you, I'm seeing a lot of plants, not only herbs, but plants in the kitchen. Why not have a spot for a tall plant, a tall tree that's very, you know, maybe very narrow, but add in the plants to the kitchen and make it look, you know, like any other room in the home. Also, here's a little kind of a retro look, and add that bar in the backsplash. You see it's a plain backsplash, so you can feature these items that are hanging on the rail. And here's a perfect example of a refreshed traditional look. You have the cabinetry, which is very traditional. We have molding. That's a refrigerator, that big element, big molding around it. So really something different. This is kind of an industrial look, which has been trending, but I wouldn't do a one-note kitchen, especially something like this, because this will, the trend will go away. The industrial look is very trendy. Don't do it all in one look. It'll, go away quick, and then they'll say, oh, that kitchen was done in 2015. So another updated traditional, you have the paneling, you have the modern piece of art, you have the stainless steel, and you have that wonderful big lighting fixture. It's, things that you do in the kitchen design, it will nudge your kitchen one way toward a little more modern or a little more traditional. So it's really in your hands. This is certainly more modern, but it's warm. Look at those chairs that have that sort of tweed covering, just beautiful. Hey, a useful pantry item at your fingertips. Why not? Modern yet warm. Perfect example of an updated traditional kitchen. Now you see on the right, you have what looks like a little desk. You have a table lamp. You have a short oven cabinet. Things like this are really, I think they're very exciting. And just look at those lamps. It's so homey, and the plants, and it's just lovely. I see this as a composition with open shelving and with the white dishes. What do you think about these kitchens, Chef?
I like them. I'm just always afraid that I'm going to get stuff all everything. I'm getting a little echo from you now.
Yeah, but they are warm. It is an updated way to have a traditional kitchen. Use some, express yourself. You will see in this backsplash, it has some a patina, some distressing to it. On the countertop, it's a very exciting countertop, but it's also earthy and warm and very art-like. Add some paintings, add some table lamps, add some sconces to make your kitchen look very comfortable. This is exciting. Modern cabinetry, and, here we are with any sort of wood. Just go out, get a piece of wood, and use it as a little, supplementary countertop. Same thing for this one. Simple, elegant, clean lines. The, traditional kitchen of today has cleaner lines. Yes, white is still important. This is not so traditional. This is modern, but it shows some earthy elements in it. White is a classic. That's one of the few things in kitchen design you can say that's a classic. We are seeing a lot of off-whites. Watch out for the grays. The grays are certainly trending in cabinetry. And there we are. And there's my little talk about the new traditional kitchen.
Great. Well, that was good. We just figured out how to do this without screen share.
We did it. And you can see the pictures just fine?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. The only thing with this is that it does compress, so you don't see, like with the C920, we'd see a bigger picture. You only really see the center of it.
Oh, I have to hold it back further, maybe.
Maybe. We'll see. That's something we can play with, or put it in the center of the screen in a smaller one. But that looked great. We could see everything. I hope everybody enjoyed that.
Excellent. Good.
And Miss, who was it? Miss Bunny Benjamin said that gave her some ideas for her 300 square foot kitchen. So
that's a good size. My own kitchen is 235 square feet. It's, look, you can do a lot in 300 square feet.
Oh my God. Yeah. At first I was thinking, oh, that's small. And I went, holy, no, that's a lot. That's a pretty good sized space.
Yeah. It's a medium to large kitchen.
Yeah. That is huge. So if anyone, Davinia Chong has requested, I will let you see if you can come in and say hello real quick if you have everything set up. And it's pulsating. And a lot of times you have to go to the camera up in the menu bar, and you have to click on that little camera that's all the way at the right and make sure that you have the permissions. So
okay.
I'll pop her right back back out again. And anyone else wants to come in and ask their questions, please come on in, and we'll be happy to let you come in. Yeah, I don't think she's got her setup right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because we'll give her another couple of seconds, but the camera should log in now. Okay, if not, we're going to close it. Any questions? Oh, there's Bill. Let Bill in. Bring him in. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Chef. How you doing today?
Good.
Hi there.
Hey, I got one quick question. Earlier,
Sure.
when you were doing the stuffing, you had that little bit left over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you go to put those in the oven, could you just take that and then top the chops with them?
You can put it. I would put it in a little mound on the side. I'm not going to top them with it because I'm going to top them with the sauce. But I mean, if that's what you wanted to do, you could. Although if you put it on the top, it's probably going to dry out, and it's also going to ruin.
That's kind of what my question was. Would they dry out too much in the oven?
It will. If anything, now that they're done sautéing, lift them and sneak a little bit more in. Okay, now that we've made them, you could go in here, get a little bit more of your leftover, and just open them up, and maybe stuff them. And that's a good idea because it's going to look a lot better.
It's going to look stuffed.
Yeah, it's going to look seriously stuffed. So excellent point, Bill. Thank you for bringing that up. And now, when I play
that looks good. Oh, wow.
There you go.
So again, now you're going to be very gentle, and don't be afraid to use your hands like you're making Play-Doh or something, and get them formed and nice and tight, because you want to get this stuffing in here tight. So push it in, because that's going to keep it from sliding out.
It's like you can eat it like a pita.
Yeah, you can. And again, a lot of times we get dishes served to us. The presentation is beautiful, and you can't really cut them the way they're presented. So, when you serve these, you let your guests go ooh and ah and have a good time. They just tell them, don't worry about it. It's going to come out. Cut them. But you want to make sure they have some really sharp utensils at that point to cut them too.
All right, very good. Now that I'm hungry.
I know. I had a salad before this. I'm trying to be good. I had a visitor this weekend and actually ate with Chef Morimoto. I don't know how they knew I was a chef. I made reservations other than they did look at my email. But I walk into Morimoto's new restaurant in Disney Springs, and I said reservation. I gave my last name, and they go, "Oh, Chef Dennis." I'm like, "What?"
Wow.
Yeah. They says, chef wants you to sit upstairs where he puts the rest of the chefs. I'm like, okay. So he did come over and scowl at me. So that was his form of hello.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and jump off. That was my question about the
Great
stuffing there. So,
well, thanks for coming in, Bill.
take care, guys.
We'll see you later. Anybody else wants to pop in? Come on in. And that was a very good point about the extra stuffing, and we can see how much better these look now.
Oh yeah, that's true. They look maybe a little more fresh.
Yeah.
It really looks great. Wow. And the seasonings, I love how the pepper looks on the outside. Yeah. I love how that looks. Oh, actually, it's not pepper. It's the Montreal season.
It's the Montreal, but you could use, I use it because both of us really like it, and especially with pork. I'm not as fond. It is okay on beef, but it just seems like pork needs that little extra help that the flavors in that has. But you just use sea salt, cracked black pepper, and get some nice, when you want to buy black pepper that is got some bigger pieces in it. The small powdered stuff is great for dishes that you're cooking or something.
Yeah, no, I haven't used that in 20 years.
But if you're making something for the table, especially grilling, or if you want it to really see it, then get more of a cracked pepper, or even with a nice pepper mill that doesn't do a real fine grind. So.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a great dish. I think it doesn't take long to make. Yeah. It's a good weekend dish. It's an every night dish, but it's a great.
And let me show you too. I made this yesterday, and this was the this is the Espanol. So I have not strained it yet. And I was actually thinking that maybe instead of straining it first, I may just take the immersion blender to it.
Uh-huh. Oh, good idea.
You can see the nice, and you know, it's this kind of a dish, having some carrot bits in it is not a bad thing. Having some onion or carrot or celery bits in it, the mirepoix, is not a bad thing. It's going to look more rustic. The only thing I will take out is the bay leaf.
I like that word. I like that word, rustic. That's true.
Well, yeah, it's going to look nice. So this is a really good sauce, and it's thickened up as, you know, I reduce this. And one of the ways they told you to check on your reduction was not to be afraid to get a plastic ruler, clean it off real well, and then just use that, stick it in the pan, and that way you know if you've reduced by half, you don't have to guess.
It's another life-changing tip.
Yeah, don't leave it in the pan.
No, but that's fantastic.
Good check.
Would you do this recipe with chicken? Make a pocket and chicken.
Yeah. And you know, I don't think if I was doing it with chicken though, I would probably roll it completely, because to get a chicken breast, a chicken is going to really dry out. So what I would do with them is more than likely tuck them. I would put the stuffing in the center, roll them, and then either hit them with a dusting of breadcrumbs, nothing major, just roll them, let them get a little wet, and just roll them in some breadcrumbs so they have some, because chicken doesn't quite cook up the same way. It doesn't have that meat that sears the same way. It's just going to kind of get tough and straight.
Right. How about a skirt steak?
Skirt steak would work. You know, you could stuff pretty much anything, and you want to roll them. If they get too big, though, that's when you want to start rolling them and tying them and roasting them that way. Like you could take it, you know, you could open up the steak completely, stuff the whole center of it, roll it back up, and then tie it in a few places. And it's sometimes a good idea to sear the meat because it kind of seals it in, but you really don't have to. You could just, you know, roast it that way and then slice it.
Oh,
and
so it's very versatile.
Yeah. And a pork loin, a tenderloin, open up a pork tenderloin, stuff it the same way, tie it, roast it, and then when you slice it, you'll get these nice little pinwheels too.
Yes, I cook those a lot. The pork tenderloin. That's good.
Yeah, so this is a great way, and you can also bake in oil after serving. Yes, you can. Good idea. I try not to tell amateurs that because I know bad things can happen when we put oil in the oven. So you can get some serious burns. In the old days, they used to have us taking like the big hunks of meat and getting a 500-degree pan full of oil, and then you were turning it in the oil, and invariably you'd get some good burns. So it's something that's you have to be careful with.
A messy oven.
Well, not just the messy oven. I'm not even worried about that. I'm worried about your arms.
I'm about the messy oven.
Yeah, I know. You're that part of it. I'm worried about
that's right.
The danger and injury since I've had enough of them. But that's it for today, guys. If you have any questions, any other questions about the pork and stuffing, easy to do. Don't be intimidated. I used super green mixture. You can use spinach. You can use arugula. You can use chard. You can use any kind of green, broccoli rabe, any kind of green that you like. Okay, we lightly sauteed them, wilted them down some, got some of the water out of them. If you get something, there's a lot of water in it, because the more you let it cook down, the more water's going to get in it. So my stuffing wasn't real mushy. This is going to go in a hot oven, so instead of it drying out completely, it's going to keep the stuffing a little moisture. If I was rolling it and sealing it, I would probably be a little more concerned with how much liquid was in it, but this is going to be open, so it's going to dry a little bit more. And again, if you don't like onions, leave the onions out. If you don't like peppers, leave the peppers out. I put peppers in here for one very important reason. It's colorful.
Oh, yes. Love that.
Yeah, it's colorful. And that's the big thing. So, it's festive. I got reds, greens going on. It's just a pretty dish. So, think of it in those terms. If you want to use your own bread, use your own homemade bread or stuffing. You don't have to buy it. But it's easy. It's your way to making things. Have fun with it and enjoy it. And
it's an updated traditional dish. Terrific. Looks wonderful.
Gonna make some mashed potatoes to go with this, and Lisa will be one happy camper tonight.
You know how to get on her better side. That's how you do it.
That's right. I haven't gotten this old without learning a few things. Oh, thank you, Tina. And Tina, if you want to try and come back in, you can and say hello real quick. Just you might have to click on your camera settings up in the top bar. If not, maybe next time, or we can have another blab and I'll walk you through it. All right, folks. Great afternoon. Beautiful day in Florida. I'll be on actually at 2 o'clock with a competition for a blogging scholarship, a writing scholarship. Matthew, and I can't remember Matthew's last name, has a website, and he's giving away a blogging scholarship. So we're going to be kind of talking to some of the people that have applied for it. And then tomorrow at 12 o'clock, I'm on with a vegan baker from Orlando. And at 2 o'clock, we have Allie Phillips on, who's going to cook up some delicious.
Great. Oh, I have to watch that.
Yeah. And we'll be back next Monday. I'm doing a hollandaise. And Tuesday, I think we're making brownies. I mean, Tuesday's a hollandaise. Wednesday, I think we're making brownies.
Oh, good. Both are terrific.
Yeah. All right. So have a great day.
Bye-bye,
and we'll see you around our kitchen table. Bye-bye.